away, you stupid idiot! All right, I'm wearing rubber underwear.
You are not a Jedi yet.
It isn't nice to mess with fairy godmothers.
The tallest tale you could never possibly imagine is coming at you.
Thank you.
And it can only happen twice upon a time.
And we're back!
Hi.
Hey everybody! Yeah, we're finally after our big Halloween binge of Rare Delicacies. We are back again. And of course, with me as always is
David.
Brett.
yes, and we're kicking off the year right with a whole new slew of Rare Delicacies. So, what do you got for me today? This is yours, Brett.
This is a rare delicacy in every sense of the phrase. David's holding up the cover artwork from the Laserdisc of Twice Upon a Time. Obviously, not the one the title would mean to most of you.
Obviously not the 12th Doctor's final
True,
story.
yeah.
No.
But 1983, produced by George Lucas, an animated film voiced mainly by Marshall Efron and Lorenzo Music.
Ooh.
As Ralph the all-purpose animal.
No, Mom. Careful. Oh, my goodness.
The reason that it is rare, because admitted you can go to a number of outlets and order the DVD. It's going to be PG. In 1983, there were two versions that aired on a particular premium channel.
You could say HBO.
HBO then.
We could say we're not copyright bound to
Well,
say HBO. Hello.
Well, it was on HBO, and you absolutely wanted to set your VCR, had to think, not DVD, not CD. Yeah, you had to set you absolutely wanted to set your VCR, but you wanted to make sure that the start time was 8 p.m. or later, because that's when the R version would play. David's a little better at explaining most of the differences. It's quite a lot better. What I highly recommend is if you're able to somehow get a hold of the R version, watch that first. Get a positive first impression. Then see the... Oh, and to be fair, it received an R, just so you don't get too head up over the ratings change. This was 1983. PG-13 did not exist for another year. Get a positive impression first. Then, if you want, watch the plain vanilla. Not nearly, to me, as entertaining. And a lot of it is the main villain, Synonymous Botch.
These names.
These
names are amazing.
Oh, give it a lot of his lines are different, and it makes it so much better.
When you say the name George Lucas, I mean, of course, my immediate thing is like, oh god, we're gonna have tirades about sand, aren't we? But recently on Delicacies, Lewis from Man Bites Film or Man Bites Media, we did an episode about Akira Kurosawa's Dreams, and I didn't realize that Lucas actually had a hand in working on that. Lucas had a lot of input on the technical side, so I'm always interested in hearing about things that he does completely on the side that has nothing to do with him either writing or directing.
And that is the case here. He executive produced.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, it really is, I mean, it's a charming little pure fantasy type story.
Okay.
That's all I'll tell you before we put in the
All
next
right.
one.
I just want to mention something.
Sure.
The animation is a completely unique style that I've never seen before or since.
And you're the man who gave us Fantastic Planet.
Yeah, I know. It's half of it is in the real world and half of it is animated.
Okay.
About. Probably a little more animated
All
than
right.
not. It's the closest thing I could think of.
Don't say Rockadoodle.
No.
Okay.
It's a little bit, the style is a very, very, very little bit like South Park. A little bit. I mean, nothing of the humor, nothing of the, it's just, the style is the closest thing I can describe it.
But almost kind of, I get what you're saying, South Park and or to an extent Terry Gilliam, where it sort of looks like,
Cutouts.
Cutouts, that are being moved.
Or Fantastic Planet, because that
Or
was
Fantastic
also
Planet,
yeah,
yeah.
that was also
True.
cut out.
It's really not like those. It's a very, very unique style, and it's well worth watching, in my opinion, just for the animation.
I can't wait to be fascinated my own self, and not only that, with I trust the version that in which you are championing.
Oh yes.
All right, then indeed, this is Twice Upon a Time, R-rated. Henry Selick, the future director of Nightmare Before Christmas, and Coraline directed the sequence where Ralph and Mumford experienced the nightmare. Bud Cord, who you might remember from Harold and Maude and MASH, he actually played Ralph the All-Purpose Animal and apparently recorded some dialogue for the film. David Fincher, yes, that David Fincher, was only 17 when he did the film's visual effects, and in fact, he's responsible for some of the opening shots of the Merc Works. The credit sequence features a photo of voice actor Lorenzo Music, who was notorious for not allowing pictures of himself to ever be seen. "1983, you said?"
Yep.
Okay. So, Coke was in, I think around that time. LSD was on the way out. Honestly, there was a lot more Yellow Submarine, especially with the nature of the story. I mean, the story is very Yellow Submarine, because
True.
I hadn't thought of that, yeah.
it seemed to be a combination of the cutout animation along with rotoscoping. There did seem to be a lot of rotoscoping, particularly when it came to establishing shots of scenery. Like there's a sweeping shot of Merc where they're going under bridges and stuff like that. I'm like, that is very clearly a lot of rotoscoping animation.
Oh, by the way, the name of the animation style is called, I believe, Lumen.
As we said, we saw the R-rated version, and there was a PG version. Honestly, I'm still trying to find the in-between here. I mean, sure, the occasional utterance of shit. They didn't even drop an F-bomb.
True.
Yeah.
Well, okay, again, we got to go back. This is 1983.
Yeah.
Back then they had, I think it was called the 7 words you couldn't say.
Uh-huh.
Shit was one of them.
Shit was one of them?
Oh, yeah.
I guess we've gotten a lot looser with the usage of the term shit and mm-hmm. That's right.
And he said too. I mean, but yeah, you're
Right.
right. There's
Yeah.
absolutely nothing in here
No.
by today's standards, and really not much by standards of 1983. I think the problem was it was a animated film, unless your name had Disney on it.
Yeah.
Basically, they took a very, very hard line.
Yeah, I mean...
So they so they rated it R, so that, to make sure it's like, well, this isn't really quite for kids because of the
idea
language.
of quote unquote adult animation, hadn't really, especially
Well,
especially
I was about to say, Ralph Bakshi, I think, was kind of a pioneer of that.
True,
I mean,
but-
starting... When did he start? He got started like...
Before that.
Way before that. Like, I think, late 60s, early 70s, around that.
First the Cat came out, like...
First
Well,
the Cat,
that was
First
the
the
first
Cat,
X.
Coonskin,
Yeah.
Heavy Traffic. I suppose they gave leeway to movies like Fantastic Planet and the like because they were more for artistic purposes as opposed to,
they came
mass
out
entertainment.
they came out in other countries.
Yeah, they didn't have. Yeah, they have their own grading scale over there.
Right.
And even then, once again, that was made more for the artistic achievement as opposed to broad mass spread appeal. I'm wondering who this was actually made for, because I just don't see them making this for the intention of being consumed by the masses. This doesn't seem like... I mean, on one side, it's a very whimsical story. You made a very apt comparison to Adventure Time on here, and yeah.
I really wonder if Jake the Dog is partly based on Ralph.
On Ralph? Yeah, I could see that.
I think what they were going for, I could be wrong, but I think that what they were going for is they were trying for a children's story that would also appeal to adults. Because back then, it was kind of either one or the other.
All the animation studios were trying to find that compromise, because around this time in the 80s, this is also the dark age of Disney, where they were struggling to get back their audiences, because their audiences were getting older and looking at Disney as merely kids' fare. So they were trying to mature themselves up with stuff like the Black Hole, the Black Cauldron, the Black Sandwich, the Black Roller Coaster, the Black Bar Mitzvah. They were trying to mature themselves up a bit, and obviously to not particularly great effect.
And I hate to say it, but I kind of blame the MPAA, because this movie absolutely deserved a PG rating, in my opinion, but because you know the APA has always been weird, but my guess is because of the words. They gave it the R rating, which was I had to have been the kiss of death for it, because anybody who goes in expecting heavy metal or rock and roll is going to go, this is disappointing.
Yeah.
And no one's going to take their kids to see it because it's got an R rating.
Exactly.
Well, I would suppose. I mean, even I guess a passing reference to sex with Botch's line. You know, you're probably expecting to get into their feathers tonight. But apart from that, you know, the fact that even 8 years earlier, you know, PG-13 was even further from, you know, being created, and the original Jaws gets a PG.
Yes. I guess if this movie had come out like after the creation of PG-13, probably would have found a better audience. Probably in all
Most likely. Yeah.
Well, and it's sad because if it came out like now, it would absolutely get a PG rating.
Oh, absolutely.
The problem is that by today's standards, the animation isn't at that. You know, it's got to be CGI or nothing nowadays.
If it came out today, it probably would do really well in the art house circuit.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of really great animated films that come out nowadays on the art house circuit. Unfortunately, you know, they're never going to get the big awards because, you know, frickin' Pixar.
C.S. Lewis once said that a children's story that can only be enjoyed by a child is a bad children's story. For the most part, the PG version of that can pretty much only be enjoyed by a child.
Yeah, well, because what they did is they cut out most of the jokes that an adult would find funny. Or quite honestly, that when I was 13 and watched it, I found funny.
Yeah.
That the opening speech by Botch is completely different. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's like
the
2
spirit
lines
of it-
long.
Yeah.
Go. That's about all he says. You see
yeah.
where he's talking about finding something in his belly button, that's gone.
Yep.
Doesn't say the word assholes. I mean, it's like, yeah, about half his funny lines are just gone.
When did PG-13 kick off? I know it kicked off because
84.
of 84. I think maybe if they had held off for like another year or something like that, probably would have gotten the rating it needed and maybe would have reached a bigger audience. I mean, so this film did basically no business whatsoever when it came out.
Oh yeah, complete flop.
Really?
I mean, the only reason why I even know about it was because it happened to be on HBO and it happened to be on.
Exactly the same.
I had never heard of it, and the fact that George Lucas was involved blew my mind.
Yeah.
This was '84. We thought all that George
everyone-
Lucas could do no wrong.
Than Howard the Duck. On one side, I want to put this on the same level as, say, Fantastic Planet, in the sense that the animation is beyond what has been done, especially prior to that point, with Lumen animation. Definitely leaps and bounds before what South Park achieved. This one still was doing a whole lot more stuff on a bigger scale than even South Park had done for the first couple seasons. So, on that end, but at the same time, it has a surrealistic quality that's like on a par with Fantastic Planet and Yellow Submarine. Easily Yellow Submarine. I'd say if anything else, it's like Fantastic Planet. Yellow Submarine had some kind of crazy ass baby. like they had like the best friggin' LSD on the face of the planet. Maybe a touch of V from True Blood, and had this gorgeous love child.
Yeah, that's an apt comparison.
I guess we're going to have to divvy up what kind of menus we put our movies on now, since we've had so many. But I think this would probably be on that little dessert tray that they hand out at really posh parties after they've had
the one with the little bitty chocolate thing in the middle.
little bitty chocolate thing right there, laced with that little extra thing. It's like something that maybe the stuff in the Capitol from the Hunger Games would serve.
Dark chocolate espresso bean.
Yeah, with powdered sugar, which is not
There you
actually
go.
powdered sugar. I think that's the best.
At 75 minutes, it would fit too.
Yeah, at
so-
75 minutes, it's a mover. It's a mover. There weren't any lulls. I could definitely say that there wasn't much of that. They could have just relied strictly on their score. They didn't need to inject all those pop songs in there, because I think that kind of tonally took me out of the rest of it. Because this is obviously meant to be some sort of whimsical urban fantasy kind of thing. They should have just let that rest. I think that's my only really note as a con to this movie. Overall, I mean, it's a surrealistic ride. I definitely would say anyone who loves animation, especially, and something they haven't seen before, that would definitely be a must.
Yeah, worth giving a shot. I will say that the R-rated version, I didn't realize this. It is very much a bootleg. It must have been recorded from the videotape. I've seen the lasers. I've never actually seen a DVD of it, but the animation's got to be a lot more polished.
Yeah. So definitely on our Facebook page, even on our Twitter, even on the comment section, if you guys know any other alternate ways to get a hold of this movie in the R-rated cut, or let's face it, the PG-13 cut.
Realistically.
Yeah, realistically, the PG-13 cut. Help each other out. See if you can get around to finding this movie so the masses can see it. Just do your best. Try to find it, and find the version that was meant to be seen.
I'd heard that they said they were never going to release the R-rated, and you had some other things about that.
Okay, look. I'm operating on memory. I am probably way off. Take this with a grain of salt. There was either a big falling out, there's some sort of copyright issue. In fact, the fact that it even came out on DVD when I just found that out like a week ago shocked the heck out of me. I thought it was never going to be released again. That's why I picked up the Laserdisc.
I mean, whatever you guys can do to nudge them, saying, "Hey, enough with the red tape. It's not like you're gonna massively profit from a big wide release anyway. Just let it go. Just release it." So,
Yeah, get something.
Yeah, just get something out of it. Don't just tie it up. I mean, it's doing nothing, sitting there collecting dust, as opposed to actually just being out there. And every now and then you got a curious party going, interesting. Why not? So in the meantime, this one is indeed on a
On the menu.
very fascinating menu. I want to find this menu.
Once upon a time, there were heroes
Some heroes, huh?
and villains
I'm a genius.
and damsels in distress
Actual distress.
and all-purpose animals.